Check this out.
Oh, nice. What business questions haunt you at night? I have this, Fred. We have an Ask Fred session today. Hello, Fred.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. Fred is the CEO of IdeaPros, and I'm Tessa. I'm the Director of Marketing at IdeaPros. And today we are asking Fred questions. So some of you have submitted your questions already before the live. So we're going to start with those. But if you do have a question that you want us to talk about from an entrepreneurial sense, business questions that you have, put them in the chat. Also, let me know if you're watching live with #live or replay with #replay. Good to see you guys all here. And one of the first questions that we're going to dive into, Fred, is about
Can I say hello first?
Well, yes.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. And please don't put #replay yet.
It's only for catching the replay. So, Fred, I mean, I like to cram as many questions as we can in with you. So, you know me, go. The first question is about this fun outage that we had from Facebook and Instagram just recently. I know a lot of you were affected by it, so I'm taking it very seriously. But what kind of old school marketing would you suggest that businesses do if there was a big major outage like that?
Other than the placard walking around in front of the sidewalk.
Fred reminded me that old school to him is very different. I'm thinking old school marketing like email.
And I'm thinking like hieroglyphics. So yeah, we're definitely in a different frame of mind there. But look, things happen, right? And outages like what happened the other day are very rare. And even in that case, even though it was so widespread, it was a few hours. And so I don't really think that you need a few hour backup plan. If you're doing enough marketing that those few hours are really going to affect you negatively, then give me a call, because we need to talk. That's a lot of marketing that you're doing. You should always have a waterfall system to go ahead and move your advertising around, move your marketing around, so that you're not all reliant on just one platform. So for example, if Google ads goes down, you can still be advertising on Bing. If you have Instagram and Facebook go down, that they're controlled by one entity, you always have TikTok that is accepting ads now as well. I don't know about whether or not, WhatsApp doesn't take any ads, but you also have LinkedIn where you can put ads on. So look at your variety of resources, figure out how they apply to the business that you have, and whether or not they're appropriate vehicles for you to market. Even Twitter, I suppose you can market on. I never have, and have that arsenal available to you, and kind of rotate it. So if something goes down, then it's not going to affect you overall. But Tessa did talk about good old traditional email marketing. For me, the very best is not old school, but it's new school. It's push notifications on your text messaging, right? You don't have to go old school if part of the internet goes down. You can go right to their phone, and old school push, mind you have to have permission, but push medicine.
As he coughs.
Messages are something that are very, very effective, and they have something like a 98% read rate. So
yes,
there's
absolutely
resources out there.
Yeah, text marketing is amazing. It can be automated with highly customizable content. So people actually, I mean, there's two-way communication. A lot of you actually get our notifications from text. And I had quite a few people that called me today because they're like, hey, you know what? Your text ended up for this live, but I have a question right now. So you definitely, text marketing, email marketing is a great thing, and diversify so that you're not 100% dependent on one system. So I love what Fred said there.
Yeah,
and then
translating for me.
Yeah, I'm summarizing because you had a lot of information in there. So And if you have any questions about text marketing, I'd love to do a show on it. So let me know in the chat if you want text marketing information for sure. So thank you, Keith. That was a great question. Appreciate that. And ironically, Pat Flynn had been hacked on his website. I'm sure most of you guys know who Pat Flynn is, but he had his website hacked, and he actually emailed out to the list to stay in communication with them during that whole time. So that could have been a really tragic situation, not even having to do with advertising, but just your main way of people reaching you. So that's another big thing you need to be. Also get backups of everything.
Yeah.
Great. So we have another question. This one is I would say, okay, never mind. I'm just going to say it, and then Fred will take it from here. But do you have any advice about setting up an LLC?
Disclaimer, right? I'm an attorney. I can't give anybody legal advice. But let me talk in general, just you and me. Don't tell anybody.
Just you and
So if anybody's overhearing, you don't have permission to hear any of this. So, having some sort of a corporate structure is beneficial in a whole bunch of ways. And we don't have to go through all of those, but obviously, just with your expenses, bills, a lot of things can go through a company. If you have partners, having an operational agreement kind of establishes what each person in that entity is going to be doing, what the expectations are, how to wind down if you're gonna end that partnership or that company. So there are benefits from that point of view. For sure. There's also additional benefits that when you are not acting like a sole proprietor, then your personal liabilities are less. Usually, as long as it's a functioning corporate structure under the law in general, that corporate structure is where the liability ends. But of course, talk to your own attorney about things like that, Tessa. And on top of that, like advice as to where to set up an LLC. Literally, you can set up an LLC anywhere. We personally, my companies are set up in Wyoming because Wyoming has very little requirements as to how to set it up, what you need to report, and what the annual fees are. And there's no tax there on the corporate structure. But you can set one up anyway, and that's a particular one where you might want to at least consult an accountant if you have an accountant and talk to them about that, because there are tax implications regarding where you set things up. So no legal advice, but company yes is a lot better than being a sole proprietor.
Got it. Well, good, excellent advice that you did not hear, folks. No, just kidding. So I have another question for you. And guys, again, if you have a question, please put it in the chat so we can show it on the screen and ask it for you. I do have a couple more questions to ask of Fred. So this one is actually a little bit, I'm leaving enough time for us to go through this, but do you have any advice on how to develop a pitch deck?
Yeah. Yes. And I see some awful pitch decks. First of all, you have to understand how that pitch deck is going to be used. Okay. And is this something you're going to be presenting live, or is it something you're going to be sending off to people? If it's presented live, especially, keep the words to an absolute minimum, just little bullet points that you can go off of, because the worst thing you can do is be presenting to somebody and reading off this verbose page word for word. You want to just strike up a conversation. Hey, this is why I'm so cool. And then start talking about it. This is why this product is revolutionary, and start talking about it. So don't write everything into this pitch deck. It should be minimal. Now, if you're sending it out rather than being there, you still have to follow those types of rules. Like, how do you get to the point quickly? When I open up a pitch deck and it's full of verbiage, your eyes glaze over, because that's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be succinct, to the point, bullet points, get people interested. If you don't have people interested in the first couple of pages of your pitch deck, they're not going to get to page 3. Okay, so basic fundamental pitch deck. Problem, solution, how you are addressing that solution, like what kind of traction do you have? What's the market? How's it growing? How are you gonna compete in that marketplace? Who are the competitors? What's your vision to becoming a big company in this space, and who your team members are? And if you're using that pitch deck to directly go up for capital, how much money do you need, and how are you going to deploy that money, and what's that money going to do to you and your life and the growth of your company? You see, the team is really near the end. The more experienced that team is, the closer to the front it should be. Like if you're working with an old dog like me that had a bunch of public companies and everything, you might want to go right to slide number 2 and put that kind of experience right there, because that gets people's attention. Evidence of that is there's public funding mechanisms out there right now whereby you don't even have a company yet, and you'll get some really senior executives. It doesn't matter what it's called, but they go out there and they get a group of senior executives that say, hey, we want to create a company in this particular sector, and we want $500 million so we can go make some acquisitions and start this company up. And people pay, it's SPAC, I'll tell you. It's special purpose acquisition company. It's called a SPAC. And look them up. They raised hundreds of millions of dollars. The couple of years I was an investment banker years back, we raised over $2 billion in 2 years, small little company, because the executives were so powerful that people wanted to throw money at them, so they had the capital to go out and build a company in the sector that they're already well established in. So the long-winded point is, if you have a really, really experienced team, you want to feature them closer to the front rather than at the end. But if you're a raw startup with not a whole lot of experience, you got to feature, this is a big, huge problem, and this is how we're going to fix this big, huge problem so we can all make a lot of money together. That's got to be apparent right from the very beginning. Y Combinator, which is one of the best, it's what's called an accelerator. Companies that have gone through there, like Uber, DoorDash, Airbnb, companies like that, started out there at Y Combinator, and they have a very simple pitch deck. I think I sent you a link. I don't know if you can put it.
It doesn't have the actual pitch deck in it. So the link, yeah, it talks about the structure and how to do it, but it doesn't have their actual pitch deck.
Well, you guys can look it up. But
well, actually, while we're here, because we based our articles from the blog on the same thing. So I just want to tell you how you can find these links, although Leticia is going to put them in there as well. If you go to our blog page and then search, I'm going to search pitch deck, and I already did this, so I practiced it. These are all the articles that we have about pitch decks in particular. So we are highlighting like secrets and tips to get the effective pitch deck based on Y Combinator, because it is Fred's favorite pitch deck. So go there and check out all the resources, as well as this one, which is literally how to create it.
Let me say it's my favorite because it's so simple. Right? It just gets right to the point. This is the market. This is the problem in the marketplace. Right? If there's no problem in a marketplace, you don't really have a product that anybody needs. So the very first thing that an investor, especially a sophisticated investor, is going to want to look at is deficiencies in that marketplace. And why my track record in the past has been really good, and why a lot of our partners don't like the speed that we go through things in our own company, is because we really take the time to look for that hole in that sector. Where is that glaring missing piece, and how are we going to go figure out how to address it and repair it and have a bunch of real happy people because we did that. So a sophisticated investor wants to see that right up front. What's the problem? You're entering into a $50 billion industry. Why do you think you can compete? Well, the problem is there's a $50 billion industry, and there's a million one-star reviews because this part of that industry is not being tackled effectively or at all. My company is going to address only this part of it. And we think there's a real opportunity to take advantage of the size of that marketplace, offer a solution that nobody has, and have tremendous traction, because all those 1-star reviews are going to be our 5-star reviews, because that's all we do. So people want to know about that right up front. Don't talk about how this is a beautiful $50 billion marketplace, and if we can get 1% of it, we're going to be successful. They'll throw that away right away. Are you going to dominate the market, dominate a sector of the market, be clear, succinct, and be authentic?
I love it. Well, that leads into my next question from Philip, which is, when is a niche market too small? So let's say we're looking at that market, but now we're really small. What is too small?
When you don't have an opportunity to go look for a bigger house.
Okay.
All right. You want to go into a marketplace where you can actually make a living and do something and change your life. And for me, it's never about the money part of it, but in order to change your life or other lives and to make an impact on the world or your neighborhood or your family, you have to go after something that has some meaningful component to it. Mind you, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be big or widely focused. You can go into a very narrowly focused marketplace and really do well. And it could be a marketplace that, let's suppose there's only 1 million people in all of the United States that needs what you have. You have a way to go in there. I'm going to interrupt myself. Stop for a minute. Okay. Ira, who works with me, who's running off on his honeymoon today, got married a couple of weeks ago. He started a company in a very, very small sector. It was to help nursing students study for their exam. And it was called Picmonics, the company that they started. It's a small market. When they went live on the first day, by the end of the first day, they captured 1/3 of that market. And that was a small niche marketplace. They just sold the company for 20-some million, I think. But the small niche marketplace that captured a bunch of that marketplace right from the very beginning and established a very, very loyal and growing fan base. So it's not the size, it's the impact you're going to have on that place. And again, good measure, can I get a bigger house or not?
I love it. So Steve Brown asks, should I plan to scale quickly and capture and protect market share, or slow and steady while preserving capital? Great question.
And Steve, can you come over tonight for a beer? Can you answer, please? I'm serious. Come on over and have a beer. Or 10, like you do in Canada. So obviously, financing makes a huge impact on the answer to that question, right? If you can go over and, like I just referenced with Ira, and capture a significant market share overnight, that's a good thing. If you don't have the capital to do that, but you can start intruding into a marketplace and you have protectable assets that will remain that way as you begin to grow, then slow and steady is a good approach. A lot of us have to start with slow and steady because we don't have a $10 million advertising budget or $50 million to establish a presence all over the United States. So the one thing that you just have to be careful about is whatever idea you have unusual and hard to copy enough that you can go the slow, steady route without some big player saying, oh, look at this little company. They have 5,000 units sold. That's a great idea. Let's copy it. So you have to be careful about that part of it as well. But in most instances, you start by grabbing one market, go in there, penetrate, work your ass off, about your model, and you can pretty quickly jump from that one market to substantial number of marketplaces, because then you'll have the traction, you'll have credibility, you can go get external financing literally overnight, especially in this market. Right now, it's kind of crazy out there. There's a bunch of people wanting to deploy capital. So if you guys, anybody who's ready to launch or be ready to launch in the next 6 months, let's start thinking about capital, because it's a great time to go raise it.
Wonderful. All right. So we have a question. Yes, he did. He said, yes, I can.
All right.
There you go. All right. Score. So Aziza has a good question as well. And Aziza with Raw Beauty Co., I have her package here. I got her product and I'm so excited to start using it. I will do an unboxing video for you guys soon. So what's most important when marketing? Social media, PR, influencers, or all three?
Aziza, we recently talked about things like that. So let's talk about the different applications of each one of those things. One of them is the PR part of it, right? The PR establishes your brand authenticity if it's done right. It gets your name out there. It establishes the parameters of what your brand is all about, and gives you that authenticity and credibility that every brand seeks. Like, who are we, right? That part of it. The problem with PR, when you isolate it like that, which one is better? The problem with PR and PR alone is you're going to have a warehouse full of products sitting there because it's not an overnight process. I've been in Entrepreneur magazine, for example. My phone didn't start ringing off the hook. Entrepreneur magazine, I did get a couple of things on LinkedIn about it. Oh, wow, saw you were an entrepreneur. That's really cool. Or a couple of new partners that came on. By the way, I saw you an entrepreneur, but you didn't get this flood of activity of the phone ringing off the hook because Cary was an entrepreneur magazine, and that's pretty damn big. So when you're on PR and you're doing a lot of this digital PR, you're not doing it to make sales. This is going to be a little bit of a long answer. Okay, but I think it's a very important thing. It's probably the most important thing, other than the naming and branding that you do in the beginning that you think about. To me, is the most important thing of everything that you do, because it's going to establish who you are as an organization, who you are as this fictional person. But when you go out there, you want to start making money. And if you have enough money to do all those things you talked about, then you should do them all. If you have enough money to do one, you want to sell shit, right? So I want to go on Amazon, or I want to go on my own website, and I want to take the money that I have and establish an advertising budget so I can go out and find people that are intent on buying things. When you have PR, somebody's reading something, that doesn't mean that they're in a buying mode. And people don't buy when they're not in a buying mode. If you have 100 people that sees your PR story and one of them says, oh, shit, I should buy that right now, you're going to be really lucky. If you do a Google ad to 100 people that are looking, where do I get my latest facial regimen? All 100 of those people are in buying mode, or most of them are in buying mode already. So if you kind of suck with them and you get 5 out of 100, that's 5 times more than you're going to get from an article. So they're all important. Influencer, that's another one that you talked about. In influencer marketing, you have to be really careful the types of influencers that you use, and you have to have somebody help you that understands the most important part about social media influencers. What is the interaction like with their customer base? Well, I say customers because they're going to become your customer. What type of engagement do they get? Somebody has 5 million followers, but you have somebody else that has 50,000 followers that gets almost the same type numbers of responses. You know that person with the 50,000 followers is somebody that has a very engaged audience that really listens to what they have to say, and it's going to be somebody that you really want to work with, because it's like going to a friend. Hey Steve, what type of beer should I have tonight? Right? I'm going to depend on him a lot more than Googling what type of beer should I be drinking. And so somebody that's small, that has this loyal group, their friends, family, their people that are close to them, and so that's a real good pitch.
I know. I was going to say, Fred has the guys that do the lawn seem to come on Friday at noon every single time.
Well, I have 6 guys twice a week, and they're always the one. By the way, any of you entrepreneur inventors out there, if you can get me a silent leaf blower, I'm your partner. So the other one was basically social media marketing that Aziza had referenced, and you got to be careful with social media marketing as well. Instagram is more impulsive, where I've bought things on Instagram scrolling through, and it's just right there in your face. The whole purpose of Instagram is it's really laid out. It's like an older TikTok, right? So laid out, you're scrolling through things and looking at them. And if an ad comes up, if it's really interesting to what you happen to be doing, you go, oh, well, let me click on that. Facebook, to me, is a two-step process. Nobody's going on Facebook to go buy stuff. They're going on Facebook to see whether or not their high school girlfriend turned out to be horrible, or whether or not, they should go back out with her. It's about memories and family and friends and virtual friends and wannabe friends. And when you're going to an audience in a Facebook environment, you're going there to educate them, not to convert them. So I think of Facebook as really no more than a glorified PR system. Although there's a lot of really smart people who probably disagree with what I'm saying. my opinion of Facebook. You go there to educate people. Hey, I know you're looking for your ex-boyfriend, but we got this really cool thing. You want to learn more about it? And you click on there. Be prepared to educate, not to convert. They'll come back at some other point as a conversion, but the first time you educate them.
Right. But I have fair to say, I've done a lot of purchasing on Facebook. So while you're hanging out there, catching up with all your friends, it is easy if the product's right and what they're searching for matches. So it just depends on what you're trying to sell. I have bought lots of courses.
That your ex-high school boyfriend is still in prison. You could find him.
No. But I think those are all great. I completely concur with what Fred said, Aziza, as far as the social media, PR, and influencers, and that all three are important for different reasons. The last part of our question is, how do you suggest budgeting for this?
Remember that house you were going to buy? Take all that money and put it into marketing. Look, nowadays, your online presence is your store in most cases. Nobody's going to find it if you don't direct them there. It's no more than having a new star out in the universe. Nobody even knows it's there. The only way you're going to find it is with a telescope and directions of where to look, right? So many people have a product, they launch a product, they put a website up, and then they sit there and they're like, gosh, I got 3 people accidentally came to my website today. It takes money. Take money to drive traffic, and it takes a substantial budget if you really want to penetrate. Otherwise, it's what Steve talked about, the slow and steady. I want to get 5 orders this week. Next week, I'm getting 10. All of a sudden, I'm getting 25 orders. I'm getting 100 orders. What's happening in an environment like that? People are talking about your product, and that's why you're getting more and more orders. If you want to drive people, you got to pay to drive them there. There's a couple of ways to do that in a cheaper format. And Aziza, I tried that with you early on, but we didn't even really have a product to sell yet. We were just trying to gather interest. But affiliate marketing is a real good way to go if you don't have a big, huge budget. How affiliate marketing works, and you guys have all seen this. You're looking for, hey, what new razor should I get? And you'll get all these things. Hey, the top 5 razors of 2021. A lot of those review sites are affiliate sites. So what does that mean? That means you're going to go there and your razor is one of those 5. When somebody clicks on your razor, because this sounds amazing, then if they make a purchase on your website, that affiliate gets a fee, 10%, 15%. What's really good about that is you don't pay them until you've been paid. And there are platforms like shareasale.com, Commission Junction, I think, is another one. Yep. And so if you have a limited budget, you might want to go there. The problem with it is it can be an awful lot to manage. I would study it for a week or a month ahead of time, look at YouTube videos, look at different reports and white papers on it, because otherwise you can get all these affiliates that, wow, I got 1 million affiliates. 900 and some odd thousand of them are never going to perform. They could be scam. They could be just trying to use your presence for other purposes. So it does take some homework, but affiliate marketing is a real great way to go with it.
Absolutely. I know Jason said 6 or 7 others. And Jason, I think you are part of a ton of them, but that's part of your strategy. And it's
Yeah,
actually,
great.
he's an affiliate
Yeah,
for other people. So it's,
yeah. Jason has a ton of them already.
yes. Yes. Well, these are great questions. I just wanted to say, Patrick, I know we had a question from you, and I got it in at the very end, but I do think, Fred, so we're going to answer your question. We may not have time for the whole question, so I'm going to reach out to you. But Fred, he did have a question about how to be patient on the entrepreneurial journey. I mean, when you're a driven person, and I know Patrick, he's a very driven person. He's already getting leads on Facebook, more than Google, in fact. And he's just really driven. How do you kind of have that patience to go through this entrepreneurial journey and let the team do the things that they should be doing to best set you up? Do you have any advice on that?
Substitute the word patience with determination, because the entrepreneurial journey it's like watching sausage being made. It's not pretty. You're going to run into walls. You're going to have delays. You're going to have to re-engineer things sometimes 2 or 3 times. You're going to get a prototype. It's going to suck. You just paid 20 grand for it, and you got to have it built again. Fortunately, working with me, a lot of the financial pain is greatly eliminated.
Reduced.
Which I just filed another negative income tax return for the year, because, well, that was part of my plan. Don't leave everything for my children. But the reality is, you got to be really crazy to be an entrepreneur, because you're trying to create something that doesn't exist. And when you're an entrepreneur and you let go of some of the reins on being an entrepreneur, you're actually at the very beginning stage of learning how to be a leader, which is what every entrepreneur needs to become over time. But the process is ugly. It's not pretty, and it's not perfect. And so if you can substitute your impatience with determination, this is hard. This is going to get done. Doesn't work at the speed that I want it to work. But what worth having ever does? Nothing. And if you have something that you can, hey, I got a great idea, and tomorrow you're out there manufacturing and selling $10 million worth of it, well, then you pinch yourself and wake up and get back to the reality of life, that you got to be crazy and you got to be a loser to be an entrepreneur. So, and hear me out. Crazy is because who the hell wants to leave their 9-to-5 job working 40 hours a week for good pay to work 80 to 100 hours a week for no pay, right? You got to be crazy to do that. The other reason you're a loser is that nothing goes perfectly as an entrepreneur. You lose, but lose is an opportunity to get to success. When you lose, it's just a bump in the road on your way towards victory. And there's no entrepreneurial process that I've ever seen where everything worked perfectly, where you didn't have losses in the middle of that road to get to victory. So be determined. If you're sitting there and you don't feel like you're doing enough, especially if you're working with me and my team, go in there and say, give me some work. I'm slave labor. What can I do to help this go faster, go better? Just kind of get you a cup of coffee, whatever.
Be careful what you ask for, though. I give a lot of tasks, so beware.
But do it. And this is Jason, you just talked about Jason. Jason's a perfect example of somebody else, and you may want to reach out to him if you're one of my partners. The perfect example of somebody who is just driven. Took a long ass time to make up his mind, Jason. But when he did, it's been, I can't use the term I was going to use, but it has to do with a wall. And he's created so much content. He's got over 100 blogs. He's got video content. He's gone out and met with all these affiliates and got everything in place, all the armament that he needs, so that when we're done on our part of the thing, he's all locked and loaded and ready to go. So there are plenty of things that you can do as an entrepreneur, even if you have somebody working with you like me. If you don't, then that impatience is probably not going to be there, because
it is replaced with overwhelm.
It gets replaced with overwhelm and determination. You have to have those things. You're not determined, you're not going to make it as an entrepreneur. It's ugly out there, ladies and gentlemen, but it's beautiful on the other end.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much, Fred. We appreciate having you on. And is there any final thoughts you want to leave us with today? I know this was a great long session. I appreciate you guys hanging with us throughout this whole one. Is there anything you want to leave us with?
Well, I thought I had a pretty good final thought there.
I thought so too. Well, I will let you go. You go.
But I can't leave without a final thought because you told me I didn't have a good one, and I'm a people pleaser. Look, this whole process is hard. It really is hard. And when you're an entrepreneur, whether you're working with me, whether you're working with another company, whether you're working with your friends, don't be bashful about sitting down, having beer with Steve, and talk about the process and how hard it is and how difficult it is and how many roadblocks there are. But understand that everybody that you have as a part of your team or your virtual team is trying to do the same thing that you're doing. And when you're feeling frustrated, surely they're feeling frustrated. So when you reach out to people working with you, reach out with a smile and determination and figure out together how you can get to the next step so you can get over that last hurdle, that last bump, and finish your road to victory.
Now it's perfect. Now I'm okay with you going. Just kidding. Thank you, Fred. I'll go ahead and take it from here. So I think he's sassing me from the back office right now. So thank you guys. I have so many great comments. Thank you, Aziza. We are so happy you partnered with us too. And I know we had great info from Phil. Thank you for your question, Phil. It was great. We did answer it earlier. If you missed it, it was early on. And some of the partners that I'm going to call out right now have products or apps. So a lot of you guys ask, what do you do, IdeaPros? What have you done? Jason, that we were talking about just now with Renegade Core, has a YouTube channel. If you like fitness, go check it out. If you put the link in here for us, Jay, that would be awesome. I called him Jason, but he goes by Jay. He has been on our show to explain the process several times. So definitely check him out. Aziza, if you could put Raw Beauty Co. in there. I am going to do a beautiful unboxing video. I just have to get all the lighting right. You know how it goes. With Raw Beauty Co., which is a skincare line, and I'm quite addicted to it. And so I just got my new stock of it. And that we have Jim said he really appreciated. Thanks for the insight. Have a great weekend. We're so glad. This is what we love to do. I don't know if you guys know this, but we don't have to be here every Friday, but I love it because it gives us a chance, one, to talk to you and see what things you guys need in your business. It's not about IdeaPros, although sometimes we talk about IdeaPros. The purpose of all these is to give you tools and resources that you guys can use in your business, whether you're with us or not. So definitely check out ideapros.com/blogs. All of these shows and more are over there. We also have a new resource page coming out. Lots of information for you. Oh, Eric, I see you. What's up, party people? It was so good to have you here. Thank you. But Barry, Abel, Cassiano, I'm Alfredo, sorry. We have Sherry Olson, and I'm so excited that things are getting close to ready for her too. Vanessa with Zwizzy, and Zwizzy is live. They have a website up. So once you check out the website, go see it. That is a great example of an awareness website. So she's collecting leads before she even has her product done. It's a great way to build up your list so you don't have to rely on social media. Stephanie, good to see you. I know we have Sean Reed, and Sean has Sage Scheduler, and his website is up, and sagescheduler.com is going to be amazing. It's like I'm so excited for this product to come out. We have Playoff Sport Tech over there. If you're into sports or you have children that train for sports, follow Playoff Sports Tech. They're going to have something that you will not be able to live without. Ken, great to see you. He has Crash Pad, which is for a truck. And now that I have an SUV, I can get one for my trailer. Check out crashpadproducts.com for that one. So as you can see, we've been doing this. We have a lot of people. We want to bring great information to you guys. Oh, Savory Lips. Barbara. Oh my gosh, so many great people here. Thank you guys all so much for being here every single week. We are here Fridays at noon Pacific time. You can hit the bell before you take off from this live, and that way you can get notifications. But definitely recommend getting the text notifications, because I do send these notices about Friday live Ask Fred sessions. I send out to people by text, and they can ask a question ahead of time and make sure that they get in on it. Ooh, wait, rawbeautyco. I think that's supposed to be .com. So rawbeautyco.com. So just it's .com. I'll tell you that. So, but guys, and if you have any questions, let us know in the post. It also has a Q&A document in there. So if your question, you're not sure if you want it to be public, you're not sure you want to put it on chat, then you can submit a question in there. It goes into a private submission area. So that way our team, if it is a little bit private, we can reach out to you privately. But again, IdeaPros is ready. Our website has chat on it. So, come see us. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you guys all next week. I hope you have a great weekend. Oh yeah, Playoff Sport Tech. I'm so excited. All right. And Bongo is going to be amazing too. If you're looking for jobs or you know someone who is, reach out to Bongo, because they're going to have an awesome solution momentarily too. Thank you so much. And you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you. Have a blessed week. Bye.